Hello, this is Sean with Smith Family Vegetables, and I've got a John Deere 3320, and when I bought the tractor, it had a couple hydraulic hookups on it, but I wanted to add a couple more, and it didn't seem like there was much online to show you how to hook the hydraulics up. So anyways, I hooked the hydraulics up on my tractor, and hopefully this will help you guys out when you try to add the same thing to yours. So anyways, here we go. Well, this is the tractor, and what I wanted to add to it was some hydraulics on the front. I ordered a grapple bucket, so I went ahead and added these hydraulics on there to the front of the tractor. You've got your two ports there, and then I kind of had to figure this out. You want to put the top one here, and the bottom one goes in there, and this bracket comes with it. Then you kind of route your hoses through here, and the hoses run up along here. You got these two other brackets you add. They join here, and I did actually bend mine out a little bit because they were really shoved up against there. Then they run in here. You take this apart, then the hoses run down here. Now the only thing that's odd on this one, this used to be hooked here, and the hoses would lay across there, and then they hook up. I haven't quite, I guess that's about the best it's going to get, but I tried to put it on this side, but it seemed like it pinched the hoses in there, and then the hoses stuck out here. And then when I tried to turn the wheel all the way one way, the tire actually rubbed up against the hoses. So I rerouted them over on this side. They kind of stay there against this thing here, but it doesn't seem to bother anything. I might try to route them differently. But anyways, then these hoses, you hook in here, the quick connects, they run down. Then I actually ran them down underneath here on top of these lines. Then they run up back underneath there, and then they run up underneath the transmission, or on top of the transmission or the rear axle. And then they come out back here, and at this point I just kind of looped them in there, and I hooked them up to here. But when I got the tractor, I bought it secondhand. It's a 2013, like I said, John Deere 3320. And when I bought the tractor, I bought it with about 130 hours on it. I bought it from the original owner last summer. And when he bought the tractor originally, he ordered it with this hydraulic hookup, and then it's also hooked to this thumb switch here. So you got a toggle forward and back, or up and down here. And then you have a switch here that turns it on and off. A switch here that turns it on and off. But anyways, when he got the tractor, that was on it, but he wanted to add a backhoe. So he took it to the dealer to get the backhoe installed, and then they installed this Power Beyond kit. And then when he picked the tractor up, the Power Beyond was on there with the backhoe, but then this whole unit here was actually stuck in a box, and they told him you couldn't have them both hooked up at the same time because there's only a power port and a return on the transmission, and this is an e-hydro transmission. There's only two ports there, and these both hooked to the same port, so you either had to have the Power Beyond or this. Well, I have a water wheel planter that has a hydraulic wheel that goes up and down, and I needed this, so what I did, I don't have the backhoe. I left this hooked up, but I actually originally disconnected. These are the hard lines that come with it. I actually ran this line over to this far side over here, and then I took this line off, and then just had it fitting and bolted it right to there, and then I ran the lines across here. That way I could use the thumb to raise the wheel up and down on the water wheel planter. But as you can see, I also have a hydraulic top link. So whenever I had the planter on there, I had to take this hydraulic top link off, because the hydraulic top link, during the summer, I always have it plugged in here, and then I can use the top link. So obviously when I went to use the planter, I had to take this off, take the lines off, plug the planter into there, and I had to use the mechanical one and a hand adjust it. So anyways, I want to get beyond that. I went online, tried to figure out how to hook some of this stuff up. I didn't really see where anybody had this stuff all hooked up. So I went ahead and bought the stuff, figured it out, and I'm just going to show you guys a video. But basically what I did is I took the seat off. Once you take your seat off, I originally had this off, but you don't have to take that off. And really, on these tractors, there's a port right here. I think when you buy the tractor, if you don't have any of this hydraulic stuff hooked up, there's a hose, I think, that runs from here, comes across, and then hooks into here. Then this is your return port on this side, and this is the pressure or the power port on this side. So then when the dealer, when you install this kit, which I think these are around $1,100, and you get this switch on your handle, there's two hard lines. This one hard line here runs down, runs below the tractor or underneath this pan, comes over, and this is your pressure side, which runs up to here. Then there's another hard line that'll hook into this side over here, and it runs back, and these two run parallel along the bottom, and then it comes in underneath there, and it hooks right into that port right here, and this has actually got a screen filter in it, this silver fitting, and then it hooks onto there when they're all O-ring sealed. Well, anyways, when you get the Power Beyond, the reason they removed this when they put the Power Beyond on is because your Power Beyond has a hard line, and this is the power side, and this hard line would run down. It runs down underneath here, comes through here, has a little jog in it, comes around, and it hooks into the power side. And then your return, the one right here, this one, comes down here, runs across, runs down over here, comes through here, and hooks in there as your return. So then when you run your backhoe, you disconnect this from the power side, or the pressure side, and you take that side, this off, you disconnect this just lays on the backhoe, and then this port here is where you plug the backhoe in there to get the pressure, and then the return for the backhoe is right here, and then this return follows this line, comes along here, and goes into this top port right here, where it goes into like the transmission and drains. And then this one, it's the pressure side, or the return side, which is over here. Then that doesn't get used when the backhoe's on there. Well, so anyways, a way you can get it by and you can still have all this hooked up. What I did is I wanted to add the extra hydraulics, so I bought this kit from John Deere. It's about $850, or it is $850. You get this guard for your light, and you get all this. You get the two levers. This one's actually up and down, and then this actually has a float on it if you wanted to float something. But anyways, pretty cool kit, and it comes with all the fitting, all the plumbings. It even comes with these hose guards, which I haven't wire tied them yet. But anyway, so what I did is I went ahead and bolted this on. I bolted that on already, and then I had this on there already. And then what I did, so you can run this two different ways. At first, I was going to run the lines. So this side, this would be pressured first. Then the pressure went from here to this line here, would feed through there, which would feed pressure over to this, and then this then would return over to there. Well, the only problem with that is once you have the backhoe hooked up, you would take this off, and then this fitting, once this is taken off, it's down, well then I would lose pressure to this side. So this side was pressurized first. Well, the only downside of that would be is if I would pressurize this, I wouldn't be using this at all for anything when the backhoe would be hooked on there, but my thumb control would no longer work. I could hook these hoses would jump over to here, but then while I'm using the loader stick, if I wanted to, with the backhoe on there, if I wanted to use the loader stick with the grapple on there, then I'd have to take my hand off of there, work the grapple, and then go back to the loader. So what I did then, I changed it up after I already hooked it up, and I actually bought this $50 line, had it made. Realized I wanted to do it differently. What I decided to do is I pressurized this side first, then I pressurized the backhoe, then I ran this over to this side and pressurized it, because I figured that way I had the backhoe on there, I could still use my thumbstick. This wouldn't be pressurized with the backhoe on there, and I'd have no reason to use it really anyway. So the way I did it was, I bought this kit, and they all come with all these hard lines, which you see laying over here. I didn't use any, these are all the hard lines I didn't use. And what I did, come over on this side, is I took the pressure side, I start over here, I took the pressure side, which is the hard line that comes with this when you buy it. This was a pressure side, so this line runs through here. It runs up along here, goes in here and comes into this side. So this side's pressured. And now this line, I ran the return or the pressure side here instead of, I took that line off, which normally would ran down underneath here. I took that line off and I added this line. Now one thing I would have done if I hadn't already paid $50 for this line when I hooked it up the other way, I would probably get a fitting kind of like what's on here, and I would run this line this way, and so that would go down through here, and then you got a better, kind of looks a little nicer. That line then would run down underneath here and hook in. It wouldn't be out here in the front, but I already bought the line, so I just paid $8 for this fitting. It just clears the underside of there. I couldn't actually swing it back a little bit because there's this knob hanging down here, and it hit on that hose. So anyways, $8. I saved my spent another $50. I bought this hose. This runs over. So anyways, this side's pressured. It's pressured off of that side over there. It runs underneath here, comes up there, and then this is all comes with this here. So none of that's different. This is the fitting that already was on there, which would have hooked to the other hard line, left it go, left it on there. And these are all 1/2 inch inside diameter fittings. Note also, if you go to the big box stores and get these hoses, they might say 3/4 inch hose or 1/2 inch hose. Not 3/4, 1/2 inch hose. But the fittings that they use on them, neck down inside, and these are 0.5 when you mic them. The other ones are 0.38, 0.4. So they do restrict the flow. So I actually paid and had these, although more expensive, I had these hoses made with the 1/2 inch ID, so I wouldn't restrict my flow at all. But anyways, the flow comes in here on this side, runs through here, which powers these ports. Then my flow runs along here, runs in, and I run it into the P for power side, runs into there. So if the backhoe's on there, this will still be powered, and this will give me full flow to my backhoe. Then your backhoe, the other line runs into there and runs into here and drains down and goes into the top here, and that's your return for the backhoe. It drains in the top of the tank. And then this will just lay on your backhoe. So that way this will be powered, the backhoe will be powered, but this wouldn't be. Now, when the backhoe's not on there, the power pressure runs through here, runs up down through this hose into here, and then it runs into another hose, which I had this one made. Same thing, 1/2 inch ID hose. I bolted it on the back, and it fit right on the fitting that came with this Power Beyond. So the only thing I had to buy was this hose. This hose then runs along here and plugs into the bottom side of the pressure side of this kit. Now this kit originally came with two hardline hoses. One hose was this pressure side, ran down, came down through here, ran over, and it hooked into that port. And then it had another hard line that went from here, which I got hooked up now. This is actual hard line with the kit. Runs down across here, runs down there, and then runs underneath there. Those are the two lines that came with it. So the only one I used was this return line. So the pressure comes from here, runs up through, pressure comes through here, runs up and runs into the bottom. Then it comes out through the top, and this is the line that came with the kit. It runs down along here, runs across here, runs down, and then it fits into the return, the pressure return side over here. Now the only thing I had to change is the line was they were wanting to kind of occupy the same space there in the back. So once I had it bolted up fairly solid, these two lines here were just tight up against each other, this one and this one. So after I had it hooked up, I just pulled on that a little bit and bent it out, and so it clears so they're not touching. But anyways, so now, and then the other line I had to get, once again, this is a 3/8 line instead of 1/2 inch. I'm guessing, I'm not a real hydraulic guy, but I'm assuming this was the float, because there's a float on this top one, and so this one actually comes in. And the cool thing is the Power Beyond came with an extra connection here, and it was plugged. So what I did, because this hard line actually originally hooked into this same spot, but since they had this came from the factory with this extra port, I just had it plumbed. I just had this line made with this 90-degree elbow, came up through here, and then it hooks right into there. So anyways, everything works. I don't have a backhoe, but it would work. It gets plumbed on there. So anyways, when I fire the tractor up, I get my hydraulic now will work on here. I don't ever have to disconnect these. I'm probably going to reroute these so they're not sticking up so far. But these here will run my thumb when I hook up the a grapple bucket or front blade or something like that. I can just leave these hooked up, and then when I want to, like at the end of the summer or the spring, when I want to plant with my water wheel planter, I can just hook these up to my water wheel planter, and then I'll never have to disconnect these. I won't have to disconnect them, and I always have an extra port which obviously operates off of these. And then, like I said, this bottom one's nice. If I put I'm taking it back, the top one's nice. You have a float on there, so in case got something on the back it wants to float with that, it can float. All right, so that's it. This is Sean from Smith Family Vegetables. And if you got any questions, just post something and I'll try to answer your questions. In no way am I a hydraulic expert or tractor expert. I'm just some guy with a tractor and tried to figure things out. So hopefully that helps you. And I'll stand back, get you a video of kind of how the plumbing works. It's kind of clean. Like I said, this one here, if I wanted to spend another $50, if I hadn't had the hose made already, I would run this one over here and it'd be back behind here, and this thing wouldn't be sticking out, look a little cleaner, but obviously don't hurt nothing, and that's it. Thanks.